60% of Americans right now who don't believe that government is working for them, and I don't blame them.
Yeah.
But if you don't believe that there are fair and just systems that can make the world better,
Yep.
then of course you're headed towards dystopia. So, and this is where it gets tricky for me in thinking about this, because the thing I get most frustrated about is that we need a radical change.
Yep.
We don't need little tweaks to the system. We need big swings. We're talking about, like, you know, universal basic income, like some big ways of kind of revitalizing the economy, because we see where we're headed. But at the same time, we want people to believe that systems can help them, and that whether it's government or non-governmental organizations, that their lives can be improved by systems, that not all systems are evil and bad and corrupt, and there's a conspiracy theory around them. That's a delicate tightrope.
Yeah, I agree with you on all fronts. Things are not going well. People feel like they're
Cheated.
Yeah, people feel cheated. People feel like their leaders don't need to pay any attention to them. Generally correct, unless you're a mega buck donor, and then you can maybe get a meeting. so there's a lot of very real disillusionment and mistrust. The question is, how do we improve it? How do we make it better? And how do we do it quickly so that it might actually get to us in our, our lifetimes and not our grandkids' lifetimes? And I'm someone who thinks that most of the trend lines are very negative. We're in a period of multi-decade, maybe even multi-generational disintegration as a country based upon things like, income inequality, sure, but also around institutional trust in government, in schools, in the media.
Yeah.
And there are studies for this. I'm a data guy. There's a model from a guy named Peter Turchin who studied the integration and disintegration of societies. And according to him, we've been on a disintegration pathway since the 80s or so. So, we've got 40 years of negative negative trends. Now, even Peter thinks that eventually we come back, that societies do improve as well as devolve. Yes, we're in a devolutionary period.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
But then one reason I'm, again, excited to spend time with you is that there are going to be people that are helping to build the solutions and the path forward. And maybe they don't click, like in year 1 or year 2, but then, maybe in year 12, everyone looks around and is like, oh, maybe we actually should roll out time banking at scale or alleviate poverty at scale. So you can believe that that these institutions are full of it and still say it is worth my time to try and make things better, particularly because it's better for us as individuals. You know what I mean? Like, one of the things that happens to me is, let's say I think there's a problem, which I do. The only way I can feel better about it is when I'm doing something about it. If I'm not doing something about it, then what am I? I'm a complainer. I'm a someone who just turns to my person and like, like my bougie friend and is like, oh, aren't things shitty? And it's like, well, that kind of makes me shitty, honestly, if that's my approach. Especially if I happen to be maybe someone who could do something about it. And for each person listening to this, there is something you can do something about in your own life, in your own community. Like, you may think,
and it can be small. It can be in your cul-de-sac. It can be at your kid's school.
Yes.
Your neighborhood group.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Or, even doing something for yourself or for someone who's super close to you. I mean, that stuff matters. So you have to be positive in attitude and action, even if you can recognize some of the negative, like institutional trends.
Hey, did you like that video? Why don't you click on this one? Or maybe watch this one? Or click over here.